Alright, what's up? This is your boy Alex, and today's Wednesday. Less than 24 hours from now, we will see the Arizona Cardinals versus the Seattle Seahawks. This might be quite somewhat of a competitive football game. It's not going to be in a walk in the park for Seattle. I mean, Seattle is at home, and they do play better at home than they do on the road. I mean, they can play good on the road and at home, but we'll start with the Arizona Cardinals first, and then we'll get to who I think will win. Now, it's going to be 50-50, okay? Now, I do believe that the Arizona Cardinals have by far the best offense in the NFL. They're an offensive football team. They're known for winning games at home, and every once in a while they win football games on the road. They could play 4 quarters. They could play both sides of the football. Sometimes they can compete. They can have a high-scoring game. They can have a low-scoring game. I don't think this is going to be one of those super high-scoring games that you expect. It's Thursday night football, and usually Thursday night football is usually unpredictable. Where I could predict games on Sundays and Mondays are more easier. Thursdays are the complete opposite. With Thursday night football, when I make predictions, they're usually 50-50. Sometimes I get it correct. Sometimes I get it wrong. Sometimes I get the scores correct. Sometimes I get the scores wrong. I usually get the scores wrong, but I get the right team to win. Sometimes I get the score right, but I get the wrong team wrong. So it's 50-50 when it comes to predicting Thursday night football. Now, I do believe the Seattle Seahawks will actually win 32-30. I'll tell you why. It's going to be a very close football game. It's going to come down to making either a field goal or a touchdown. Now, the Seattle Seahawks have actually lost 3 games overall, but they lost 2 in a row. They lost 2 football games, 2 Sundays in a row. And that's like that's like 3 or 4 red flags for the Seattle Seahawks football team, because if they don't win this game tomorrow, then some people are going to assume that their season's over and all that momentum just disappeared. Now, I don't think Russell Wilson's momentum's gone. I don't think he's out of the dogfight. I still think he got a lot of dogfight in him. I do think he'll win this game tomorrow, simply because a lot of people are just going to assume, well, because you're at home, you play better at home. It isn't just going to be because they play better at home. This is one of those, this makes or breaks your football season. He wins, he's going to win more games in the football season anyway. But one of the problems I noticed is that when they lost to the Rams was able to match their defense, not just be able to play them on offense. It was able to make their defense collapse. And that's why they lost those 2 games, 2 Sundays in a row. The defense collapsed, and Russell Wilson was trying to do let me just win the game on offense. And Seattle Seahawks can play good, strong, good offense, but they're not an offensive football team. They're a defensive football team. And if he would have just stuck to just playing defense and not overthrow the football, he would be causing interception. The ball would get interception. He would drop the football, fumble the football. And that was why they lost those 2 games in a row back to back. And if he doesn't fix that fast, you could see an upset where he could lose 3 games in a row. And then that would be bad potentially, because then people will be like, this team was very good in the beginning of the season, so what's going on towards the middle and towards the end of the season? Like, we ain't even approached the end of the season yet, and you already having, miscalculations. Now, he already lost 2, and I figured he would lose 2, but if he loses 3, then, that's like you're going to have to win every game after this. So I think Seattle bounces back. I think Seattle wins by 1 or 2 points, 32-30. They're going to win because, 1, they're at home. They can bounce back. This is a must-win. He needs to win this, because if he don't win this, then he has to win every football game after this. And some are going to start saying, what's wrong with this football team? So I think he'll pull off a win, and then I think he needs to win 3 of the next games. The rule is if you lose 2 or 3, you need to win 3. So he lost 2. He needs to win this plus 2 more. So he needs to win at least 3 more games after this to ensure that they still have that wave of momentum. So that's why I think they'll win. If there's an upset, because I know someone going to rush to the comic and goes, what if they lose 3 in a row? Then what? Well, here's the thing. If you lose one game, that's one game. You lose 2 games, it's just 2 games. But then when you lose 3, 4, 5 games in a row, that has like 7 red flags, and there's something wrong with either the offense or the defense of that football team. There's nothing wrong with the Seattle defense. Their offense, the thing is, if you go from playing from defense to offense, sometimes you can win football games like that. And sometimes you can lose football games that way. And as a result, that's why he lost those 2 games 2 in a row. He got to play his defensive game. When Russell Wilson plays his defensive game, nobody can stop him. No one can touch him. But when he plays offense, what do you saw the Rams do? The Rams was able to match the offense and the defense. And as a result, Rams was able to not only beat them, but blow them out. And normally you don't even see that. So could the Arizona Cardinals be that team that make him lose 3 in a row and cause an upset? They could potentially upset this team. Why say it's 50-50? Because he lost 2 games in a row. So this would probably motivate and give the Arizona Cardinals the motivation that they're looking for to do what? To beat their arch nemesis. And if you beat Seattle in Seattle, which is very hard to pull off, like if you're not a Pittsburgh Steelers or a Green Bay Packers or a Saints team, you ain't gonna beat no Seattle in Seattle. So the Cardinals is looking at this game like it's a walk in the park. Seattle is just gonna have to play close to perfect execution of football. Why? Because if they do good the first 2 quarters, they can get complacency in the 3rd or in the 4th quarter, and then you can allow the other team to think, okay, they're not playing no more, we can beat them. So Wilson can't make no more mistakes in this football game. 2 or 3, okay. No 5, 6, 7, 8 mistakes in this football game, because in those last 2 games where he lost 2 in a row, that's how he lost those games. Now, I'm not saying it's all Russell Wilson's fault or the Seattle Seahawks' fault. I do understand that when you get momentum too early in the season, that happens. Some teams get momentum in the beginning of the season, some get it towards the end of the season. In this case, that's what I think it is. So if the Arizona Cardinals cause an upset and they lose 3 in a row, then I think he would have to win 3 of the next games. He would have to win every game after that, because you don't want to get too many losses moving into the playoffs, because that could affect you from getting a playoff spot, and then you won't play at home. So if Arizona Cardinals win, if they upset, it'll just be 31-30. Again, I still see a close game. I don't see really a shootout. This is one of those, you might say, Seattle's at home, they're going to win, but then I also put it's 50-50. So I don't want no one to be saying, well, you said Seattle was going to win the last 2 games and they lost. And guess what? I picked them to win those games, but I also said they could get upsetted, and they lost those 2 games. So I'm saying the same thing. Potentially there can be an upset. I don't think he want to head into Sunday or next Sunday with 3 losses in a row, because then everyone's going to think, what? We can beat this team. And that's what you're seeing. 2 teams beat them. Now the Cardinals got motivation and confidence to do what? To think they can beat this team.